Hi friends, good morning to everyone. Today's topic in economics, unit 5, about migration. Do you know that what is the meaning of migration? It is a process of moving from one place to another place. You all know that what is the purpose of the migration? What is the major reason for the work, for the employment purpose, for the hospitality? Many factors underlying the reason for the migration. The first thing, the learning objectives to understand the concept of migration, to learn about the extent of migration in India and in Tamil Nadu, to analyze the factors which underlying the migration. First, let we all know that what is introduction, what is the concept of the migration. In any settlement, village or town, change in population occurs due to birth, death and migration. We can't expect the same population in village and as well as in the town. Most of these three components of population change, birth and the death is clearly identifiable events, while migration poses the maximum amount of problem with regards to its definition and measurement. That is, as almost everyone keeps moving most of the time, it is not easy to define which of these moves have to be classified as a migratory moves. So let me see. In the census of India, migration is enumerated on two bases: place of birth and place of residence. Census. What is that census? To count the number of people living in a country. So in the census of India, migration is enumerated on two bases. One is the place of birth, another one is place of residence. What is place of birth? If the place of birth is different from the place of enumeration, that known as a lifetime migrant. Migrant means in order to find work or better living condition, people are trying to migrate, moving from one place to another place. Place of residence. If the place of last resident is different from the place of enumeration where you are working, that is known as migrant. By place of last residence, in order to find work or for the better living condition, people are changing their even residence. For the work or for the school purpose, due to the work, the parents are changing, shifting even the schools for their children. So these are the two major bases for the migration. First, let me know that extent of migration in India and Tamil Nadu. As per the government of Tamil Nadu, the portion has been a little bit reduced. Among that, 5.1 and 5.2 alone it's there. There is no migration policies are available from this chapter. This is one of your detailed answer, the migration policies, but that portion is out of portion now. Now this is okay for the lesson. Extent of migration in India and Tamil Nadu. In India, the census of 2011, which enumerated a total population of 121 crores. You know that what is census? Census is to count the number of people living in a country. So how many crores are there? 121 crores of people, of which the 45 crore people were reported as migrants. Migrants means the people, in order to find the work or better living condition, they are exchanging the place from one place to another place. According to the definition of the place of last residence, it is given. Similarly, in Tamil Nadu, out of 7.2 crore people, 3.13 crore people were counted as some migrants in 2011. You know very well, census once in a 10 years used to accommodate. So that is the percentage of the migrants was 37% in the country, while it was at much higher rate in Tamil Nadu at 43%. Generally, one tends to associate the migration with urban areas Normally the people used to select to go to town or city areas. However, we find that in India as well as Tamil Nadu, the extent of migration is much higher in rural areas when compared to the urban. The people in the suburban areas, they are trying to move out rather than the urban people. Rural people areas are moving more for their job. So in 2011, 37% of the populations are counted as migrants in rural areas, while the corresponding percentage in urban India is 27% only. So in Tamil Nadu, migrants which account for 41% in rural areas, and whereas 35% in urban areas in 2011. That is, the mobility of population in rural areas is greater than that in urban areas. Further, one usually associates mobility with males rather than females, isn't it? We used to compare with male and female. However, an examination of data clearly indicates that a larger proportion of females are reported to be the migrants, the people, those who work for the better living condition, who compared to the males. Females are more in number. For the better living condition, they are searching the jobs. In the country as a whole, 53% are female migrants, while 23% are male migrants in 2011. In Tamil Nadu, the picture is very similar, with more than half the females, 52%, reporting their status as migrants by place of last residence, and 35% are the male migrants. Now, why is there such a large percentage of migration among women? Because 70% in India and 51% in Tamil Nadu report marriage as the reason for the migration of females in 2011. Why females are more in number for the migrants? Due to the marriage. That is, marriage and the movement associated with the marriage appear to be a major factor responsible for women's mobility in India and Tamil Nadu. Movement related to work and the employment, that is, velaivaippu, which appears to be the driving force for the migration among men. Of all the male migrants in India, 28% report for work. This as a major reason for their migration in 2011. The corresponding percentage in Tamil Nadu is 26%. To sum up, that is to add, in Tamil Nadu, 2 out of every 5 person is reported to be a migrant in the year 2011. Incidence of migrants is higher in rural areas and larger among the women. Tamil Nadu has a history of migration and people have moved for various reasons. What are the reasons? Such as trade, business, employment, etc. to the various countries. Which are the countries people are seeking more? More countries moving to the Gulf, United States of America and Australia. Like that, the people are trying to search the jobs. During the colonial period, laborers had moved to the other colonies seeking work and wages, daily salaries and the work for them. In the more recent period, workers from Tamil Nadu have been moving to countries in the Gulf. Gulf countries, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Thaman, like that. United States of America and as well as the Australia. In 2015, an independent research study was conducted to understand the level, the nature and the pattern of migration in Tamil Nadu. So this study has made something interesting findings as discussed below. Of the total migrants in Tamil Nadu, 65% have migrated or moved abroad, while 35% have moved within the country. Of that total migrants in Tamil Nadu, 65% have migrated or moved abroad, while 35% have moved within the country. Within the country itself, they are migrating from one place to another place for the standard of living to increase. Chennai district has recorded the maximum number of immigrants, followed by the Coimbatore, Ramanathapuram and Tiruchirappalli districts. So Kadalur, Karur, Tiruvannamalai, Vellore, Namakkal, Salem, Dindigul, Krishnagiri, Nilgiris, and Dharmapuri districts record low number of immigrants. The people, they didn't move. Very less number of persons are migrant from the one place to another place for the living standard. This is one of your third short answer and point of your third detailed conclusion. This study also provides information about the sex and the destination of migrants in Tamil Nadu. Of the total migrants who go to foreign countries, nearly 20% have chosen to go to Singapore, while 18% to the United Arab Emirates (UAE), 16% to Saudi Arabia, 13% to the United States of America, and the rest, the same percentage, to the Malaysia, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Australia, and even England are also referred as an important destination for the migrants from Tamil Nadu in the year 2015. Of the international migrants, 15% are women, while 85% are men. So men are working more in number for the foreign countries. On the question of educational qualifications of migrants from Tamil Nadu, the study reveals that in 2015, about 7% were illiterates. When you are talking about the education level, 7% were illiterates in Tamil Nadu. 30% have completed class 10. 10% have completed class 12. 15% had undergone vocational training, that is for the typing classes and the management course and everything is training, everything under vocational training. 11% were graduates, the degree holders. 12% were professionally qualified and 11% had postgraduate degrees. Professionally, like for their job purpose, like MBBS, engineering purpose, professional job like CA and other groups. Then postgraduates, there's some master degrees have been completed, around 11%. The study clearly reveals various occupations undertaken by the migrants. Highly skilled professions on one hand and low skilled occupations on the other, along with a large number of semi-skilled occupations. That is, it shows you highly skilled profession on one hand. Skilled means having the ability needed to do a job well. The skilled having and the low skilled occupations on the other, along with the large number of semi-skilled occupations. That means when having only a small amount of training. Now look at the second point of view. Factors underlying the migration. The extent, that means the length, the area, the size, or the importance of something. The nature of migration in any society is basically determined by the nature of the development process experienced by that society. That is, the type and the scale of development achieved by the agricultural and industrial sectors. Agricultural sector, it's nothing but a primary sector. Industrial means secondary sectors, which is in an economy would determine the migratory patterns. It depends upon the primary and secondary sectors. This will economy would determine the migratory patterns. In India and Tamil Nadu, though the agriculture and industrial sectors have grown over the years, inequalities still exist in asset. That is, inequalities, there is no equal status between the all. Asset means sottu, and in income distribution, everybody is not having the same income earning and the same assets. The sottu is not equal. So endemic, that means long term poverty continues to be a major problem. So look at this reason for the migration in India. The colors have been given in a pie chart. Work or the employment we used to call Velaivaippu. Then business people around 1.2 alone. Education, marriage, moved after birth, moved with the household items and the others. So this is the pie chart has been provided. Reasons for the migration in India. The growth processes have also created spatial inequalities. That is, unequal amount of qualities or the resources and services depending on the area or location, such as medical or welfare. by leading to enclaves of growth. There is a growth which processes have also created a spatial inequalities by leading to enclaves of the growth. The migration patterns which observed in a developing society such as ours correspond to these inequalities, that is economic level, social and spatial, etc., which created by the development process. Therefore, any migrant stream would consist of heterogeneous substreams. So heterogeneous consist of things that are very different from each other. For example, if we consider the rural-urban migrant stream, it would comprise of rural rich and the rural poor, each with its own reasons and motivation for migration. The mode of migration is the outcome or consequence of migration, etc. Poorer sections of the population migrate as a survival strategy. Survival படிக்கிறதுக்காக போகிறது. Poorer sections of the populations, why they are migrating? To earn income to survive their life. The state of continuing to live or exist. உயிர் வாழறதுக்காக they have to work கண்டிப்பா. So in response to distressing condition in rural areas, migrants from better off sections migrate to improve their living standards. ஒரு சிலர் migrants, they are trying to better off the sections, that is what they are surviving their life. Let me make to be a standard of living to be high. For that purpose they are trying to work. Further, spatially, there would be a tendency for migrants to converge or enclaves of growth either in urban areas or in rural areas. The pattern of migration is very complex, which comprising of a number of streams. What are that? Rural to rural, rural to urban. Rural means the village, village to village, that is suburban. Rural to urban, urban means town or city areas, or urban to rural, and then urban to urban. There are short, medium and long distance migration streams are there. Short means a little bit area will be a lesser area. Medium and the long distance will be a lesser one. Long term stable migration and short term circulatory type of movements also there. Each of these streams would consist of different types of migrants from different social classes, each with its own reason for the migration. Everybody is not having the same reason for the migration. Each and every person, they have a different concepts. The extent and nature of these migrant streams would essentially depend on why the people are just extending the migration. There are some pressures and aspirations which experienced by the people at the origin of migration. Constraints are imposed on mobility at the origin of migration. Opportunities at the destination and availability of information regarding these opportunities and the cost of migration. So these are the main points of pattern of migration. Look at this. This is a migration for the survival. That is a purpose. Survival for the reason. The people are coming from the North Indian peoples are coming here for the construction work. படிக்கிறதுக்காக வருகிறார்கள், we have to call, right? Migration for the survival. Look at this. Do you know matter? The largest migration corridor in the world in 2010 was Mexico. It's a USA. It's the biggest city in the USA. In the world itself, you can say. Now it's different. The Arctic tern bird has the longest migration distance of any bird in the world. So the next point of view is migration policies, which is not available for this academic year, pandemic period. The government has been reduced the portion. So please go through the entire lesson, my dears, to know all your answers. Thank you.